Good evening, micro followers. I hope this video finds you happy and healthy. So I kind of did a little thing this morning and wanted to jump on real quick and share it with you. As you can imagine, life has been pretty weird not having any animals around the house. We're approaching our 1 month anniversary, I guess you could call it, since the enclosure was taken down by the big storm. So it's been a really weird adjustment, not having any chores in the morning. It's been really quiet outside when I go out to have my coffee, that sort of thing. And we still we haven't even got started out there as far as cleaning things up to put the garden down. The weather has really not been in our favor. So I was considering, okay, well, let me say this first. One of the biggest insecurities I have is not having some kind of self-sufficient food supply for the family. And so not only have I dealt with the emotional trauma of losing the enclosure, because I had, relationships with the animals. They had such wonderful personalities. So they were entertaining and they were friends. But I immediately developed an insecurity as far as being able to supply for my family. So, on the other hand, I was so traumatized by what had happened that, like, I can't even, it terrifies me to think about trying to start that big of a project again. Especially considering I had fought for about 5 years to get where I was by the time the enclosure went down. So, the thought of starting back up is absolutely terrifying to me. But at the same time, this is the first time since I've started this micro farming mission that we literally have not had any food source at all. So obviously we don't have a garden, but I have no rabbits, no chickens, no ducks, no eggs, no meat. I mean, well, obviously except for what I have vac sealed and canned at this point. But I mean, like, as far as actually having the ongoing source in the backyard, I have nothing. And that's a really, really strange, scary feeling. So I got to thinking, maybe I can just, on a very small scale, start something else. Obviously, rabbits are not very small scale. I mean, they are, but they're not. Um, and then chickens, there's just no way. I don't have the funds or the physical means to build anything as far as getting the chickens back up and running. So then I was like, quail. So I started researching quail, and like, it's been mentioned before. How come you've never considered raising quail? Well, to me, it just didn't make any sense, especially because I had a bigger family at the time. My two oldest were still living at home. It didn't make any sense to me why I would raise such a small bird. It wasn't a whole lot of meat, and the eggs were so little. So to me, it didn't make any sense. But I've been thinking here lately that I use the same excuse with silkies. Like, that's the reason why wasn't interested in getting silkies also. And then look how that turned out. She was awesome. So I thought, you know what, maybe I can get started with some quail. I mean, they're little, but little means they won't take up a whole lot of room. And not to mention, like, it doesn't take them very long to mature or start laying eggs. So I'm just like, you know. So I'm tossing the idea around for, I don't know, it's probably been a week or so. And, hi, baby. I'm tossing this idea around for the last week or so. And then, so finally this morning, say hi. Hi. So finally this morning, I'm thinking, like, you know what? It's now or never. Because, like, I just keep making excuses. Like, oh, I'm not ready. Or, I don't want to mess with quail because they're so little. And I just kept making excuses as to why I wasn't going to do it. And I don't really have an excuse. So, like, to me, at this point, with Mission to Micro Farming, it just kind of makes sense that it's going to be the quickest thing that I can get up and running without a huge expense or having to take up a whole bunch of room. So I got online this morning and I bought a quail cage. It's a triple section quail cage, and it has some kind of cool little grate thing that goes across the top of the feeder, so it helps save food. It's got a antimicrobial watering system type thing. So like the tubing that goes to there's a tank, and then there's tubing runs across the whole entire thing, and then it comes down into little watering trays for the birds. I did order mats for the bottom so I can use it as a brooder. And then first purchase ever, I got onto Cackle Hatchery and ordered 50 quail eggs. It's scary. It's exciting and it's scary, but I mean, on the upside, this isn't anything like having chickens because I don't have a coop in the backyard. And these ridiculously satanic winds. It just scares me to have livestock in the backyard again after what happened. So on the upside, these triple section cages, they're not, they don't take up a whole lot of room. Obviously, quail aren't very big anyway, so they don't take up a whole lot of room. And I have the very first setup. I don't know if you guys remember, it's been a little over a year ago. I have big metal shelving up against the back of the house, and we originally started the ducks and chickens up and rabbits up towards the back of the house for wind purposes. So with good reason. That metal shelf that the rabbits were on, it's still there. So I got to do a little bit of measuring and maybe even a little bit of tweaking when the cage gets here, because you have to assemble it. But I'm going to see if the quail cage can just fit on that shelf, and we'll just have them up there against the back of the house. They'll be guarded by the dog, so I don't have to worry about that part. And unfortunately, I don't have any more outside cats, so I don't have that concern. And they'll be sheltered and help, because they're up against the house, it'll help a little bit with a windbreak. So the new exciting news for Mission to Micro Farming is somewhere within the next 5 to 7 business days, I will be receiving 50 Cortex, I think is how you say it, quail in the mail from Cackle Hatchery. And I will be once again getting out the Nurture 360 incubator, and we are actually going to attempt to incubate some eggs and get a quail project going. So like I said, it's a little exciting, it's a little scary. Quail are different than chickens. They don't take as long to incubate. They take like 17 days. They don't take as long to get to sexual maturity. I think that's like 6 weeks. And then they start laying somewhere between 7 and 8 weeks. So it takes 3 quail eggs to make 1 chicken egg. So we'll have to do a little bit of adjusting on recipes or whatnot. However, I thought it was really super cool that the nutritional value of quail eggs like surpasses chicken eggs by a ridiculous amount. I had no idea. I'm learning a lot. So I just wanted to make this video to see if anybody out there that is following me, or if you're not, even if you're not, if you have raised quail before, if you would chime in, share any experiences, the pros, the cons, whatever, anything that you can give me to help me go off of. Like I said, I'm researching a lot. Several times throughout the day, I'll jump on and I'll watch a video, or I'll try to read what I can while I'm doing what I'm doing, to learn as much as I can before they get here. But like I said, because of, the recent events, it's kind of scary for me. So, I'll accept any help that I can possibly get to help me out with this. So at this point, I'm pretty much keeping the basics in mind, that it takes about 17 days for incubation. So I'll be turning off the turner at about 14 days, I am going to dry incubate. That's like my signature thing. I've always dry incubated eggs, and that's what I'm going to stick with. So we'll be doing a dry incubation for 17 days. I've been told it could go up to 22. So I'm going to turn off the turner at 14 and let them go until probably 20. I don't think I'll go to 22, but probably 20. I understand that there's going to be several roosters in this hatch, especially with the large quantity of 50. And that's okay because it doesn't take them very long to hit maturity. So we will probably just end up processing all but three of the roosters because the cages are 3 sections. So I'll probably just keep one male to the rest of, which would be like 5 to 7 hens in each section. And then the rest will just be processed. So, and I know that quail is, I know it's all dark meat, but it's like super duper yum because they are relation to the pheasant, and that's like my favorite bird. So I'm kind of excited for that one. And another cool thing that I thought about too is with as much canning as I do, wide mouth mason jars. I'm sure you could fit a couple birds in those things to can them too, which is just like, I don't know. So maybe the little bird thing, could be a plus. Maybe it's more convenient than what I think. So anyways, it's been a long day and I am so ready for bed, but I wanted to jump on here and post this. One, obviously, to share the news that we are getting ready to start a crazy little quail project. And I would love to have you guys follow along with me. And number two, obviously, if you have any experience in raising quail, please do chime in, comment, message, I don't care, whatever. Share with me your experience because every little bit will help right now to get us back up and running. So until the weather starts to cooperate and I can actually get out there and do something about the garden, I'm going to focus on the quail project. So welcome to the quail project. Feel free to chime in. Love you guys. Talk to you later.